The symbiote suit. Social media responds. Now, keep in mind, when we have these conversations on the Video Game Fight School channel, you have to be open to seeing people disagree with your position. This is one of the fun parts about having these conversations. It doesn't mean that they're any less of a person. It's just interesting to see that, they hold an opinion that you might not necessarily hold. By and large, somebody just posted this. They just said, what does everyone think of the symbiote suit in Spider-Man 2? The answer is very simple, and I'm going to spoil it. I like it. A lot of people that I've seen so far, they do like it. But as we go down through to start looking at responses, you're going to realize that not everybody shares that sentiment. Now, here's a big question. Will the suit change depending on what costumes you're wearing? Because that'd be sick. Now, this doesn't mean anything. I feel like it almost has to, blah, blah, blah. I don't think it needs to. He's already got a Venom suit. I think this is already wicked as is, if you understand what I mean. It looks nasty in a good way. It's not clean and perfect looking like Tobey Maguire's black suit in Spider-Man 3, and it's not perfectly smooth like in Spectacular Spider-Man. It actually feels alive. The portions of Peter's suit with armor look like symbiote is moving. Yeah, I hated that Spider-Man 3 suit. This is perfect in my opinion. They hit it on the head. And yeah, it does really look alive. I like the one from Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions as well too. It is shiny, but that game, is actually shaded in an interesting way. So yeah, I can deal with it. There's a lot of interest here. I'm expecting this. I don't know what they were expecting here. I guess this is displaying. I guess this is the suit or something. Someone said 5-star voice acting. Not bad so far. Absolutely love it. Love how when it's forming on Peter, it looks like clay basically though. Perfection. Chase says, I hate it. Here we go. I told y'all. I think some people are going to be really shocked to see how opinions really differ. Doesn't mean anything bad. That's their problem. They're probably not going to buy the game. We don't care. I mean, most of you already have your money for Spider-Man 2 in a jar sitting there ready to purchase the game. So it's really not that much of a big deal. Similar to Agent Venom, I assume, gives a look more protection, making him appear, beefier and therefore stronger. This says, Pedro says, for a video game, I'll accept it. I think it's good. I wouldn't say for a video game I'll accept it. I think it's fantastic. And we'll talk a little bit about why I think so once we go through some of these comments. At first, I didn't like it earlier today, but the more I see it in motion and in the dark, the more I like it. I just hate the V on his back, his wrists, and the weird neck part that forms some spider armor for the headpiece. The texture, eyes, and logo look sick, though. So this is mixed. When I said mixed feelings in my other video, some of you jumped here. Oh, no one's expressing mixed feelings. Like, maybe you don't understand how internet culture and gaming works. Well, perhaps you'll be, in a sense, shown some of that. Not gonna lie, Spider-Man was pretty disappointing. I mean, it was lame how they introduced the symbiote suit. That's not the question he asked. The suit looks cartoonish. Okay, now that's the answer to the question he asked. Like it's from Fortnite, and Peter's combat and swinging animations are scarcely close to the first game. The graphics look worse than the first game too. I mentioned yesterday in my video, ladies and gentlemen, that what we got to see in the first game, or what we got to see in the trailer, is based off of a lot of different tweaks that the developers were making in terms of picking the atmosphere they wanted to go for, a much more darker one than, say, the other games. And even if you look very closely, it looked like they had a cinematic filter on top of it. So the game maybe could play looking exactly like that, but I don't think that's going to be the case in terms of that filter. There's also going to be different day and night cycles. My guess is what that's going to be. So possibly that was a right before dawn type scene. You could tell the sun was very, very blatant in that evening scene, an evening chase scene with Lizard and Venom and Craven's baddies. So that's pretty much what it is. Someone said, not a fan of the bicep area, and the way they've gone with an armored aesthetic like Agent Venom makes him look more like Orca-Man than Spider-Man. But I dig it for the most part, especially the VFX. It looks wicked amazing, says somebody else. That awful rendition in Spider-Man 3. I hated that awful rendition in Spider-Man 3, but this looks sick, no pun intended. Plus, the powers from the symbiote are a fantastic way to change up Peter's moves and whatnot. Can't wait to see Venom. And the fact it's got a full 2023. I think he was going to say release date after that. A lot of people like it. No problem. I like it. I like it. This has to be my favorite version. Love it. Love it. Honestly, kind of expecting a black advanced suit. Double honest. Honestly, I actually prefer it. Now, here's the thing, too, though, that we got to talk about. There will be other skins in the game, and we'll be able to take a look at different variations. So this is, in my opinion, something that I think, people have to go ahead and consider when we're having this conversation, because you haven't seen the range of skins that the Spider-Man games are able to deliver overall. I mean, they can deliver a whole ton of games. Let me go ahead and start reinstalling Spider-Man here. I've beaten them, but I got the PC versions just for the heck of it. Hold on. Spider-Man. Let me install this bad boy here. And I don't necessarily, in my opinion anyways, I'm not really big on, discussing a preliminary skin in a superhero game, because if there are going to be other skins, I strongly believe that at that point in time, a lot of us are going to get to see, stuff like that. We're going to see differences. I don't get how people can complain it looks perfect. I mean, again, this is how it is, this is how it is. Not a big fan of the design or the way he uses it. Would have preferred something less explicit. Still, the video is nuts, and I could get used to that Black Spidey suit too. I hated it at first. That's kind of the initial gut reaction. I told y'all yesterday we had to sit through a bunch of games that none of us came to that showcase to watch. So by the time we got to see, the Spider-Man showcase, a lot of people I was already tired. Like when I saw it, I was like, man, how excited, am I gonna be at this point? Not a fan, to be honest. I think the symbiote suit should look inconspicuous. Shouldn't be immediately obvious that it's alien, but I also just don't like it looking gross. I blame the Venom movies. That's an interesting take. Don't matter, you can change the suit anyways. I know it's not a biggie. Literally black alien goo. It needs to look gross. You just want the black cat suit he wore in the comics. Nah, it doesn't. I can literally morph into clothing. Okay. People hated it. I thought it looked neat. Okay, with the symbiote forming thick layers that look like armor pads. It really looks good. I'm thinking it should be, and so on and so forth. So my overall general opinion with how it looks is that I like it, number one. Number two, from a game mechanics perspective, I like the way it plays. It has a mixture of Spider-Man and Venom-like, possibilities. Your skills and your abilities, man, they look so insane. And the theme is running strong and hard with this whole Venom thing going on. I mean, it's, in my opinion, one thing that I think, a lot of us here in our gaming community can always appreciate in the way that it actually works. You're really going to see, and I'm sure this is probably just scratching the surface in terms of the suit's abilities and in terms of what it is that, you can put together when it comes down to it. But ladies and gentlemen, I think Spider-Man fans are, including non-fans, I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan, by the way. I don't know if you guys know that. But I know that we're in for a treat because, elements here that we're seeing are just insane. How Craven is going to deal with this is going to be wild. I mean, I think they picked a solid, initial protagonist, because we don't know who the protagonists are going to be. We don't know what alliances are going to be formed. But I think this is really cool. And something a lot of people are not necessarily talking about is the way they've decided to shade this, let me talk about that in a separate video. That